All right, so we're gonna let folks start funneling in. In the meantime, hello everyone. Welcome to Imagine Software's webinar, Innovating RCM Through RPA, What's All About with OnQ. I'm Caroline Smith with Imagine Software, and we'll be here to monitor our Q&A questions and am recording today's presentation. Please note to use the Q&A, not the chat box, for any questions. And today's webinar recording will be sent out after we wrap, just in case you would like to reference back to any of our awesome bots features or even share with a colleague. I'm joined by the Bots Dream Team, OnQ's Jack McBride and Armando Lee, and Imagine Software's TJ Applegate, all here to show you OnQ's automation technology, features, and functionality, in addition to their integrations with Imagine Software. So without further ado, I'll pass the torch over to you, Jack McBride.
Well, thank you, Caroline, and thank you all for attending today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch a riveting presentation on one of my favorite subjects, robotics process automation. So I thought I would start off by talking a little bit about who we are as a company and why we do what we do. So many of you are probably familiar with a book by Simon Sinek called Start with Why. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with why. Why does OnQ exist? Well, we have 4 core values: value creation, can-do attitude, and commitment to quality, and elevate others. And the elevate others core value is really our mantra into why we exist. Our focus is on our employees because we subscribe to the theory that happy employees creates happy patients. Happy patients means happy clients, and happy clients means happy owners. And kind of along those lines, we are focused on creating opportunities where we feel like we can make a difference out in the world for people and in people's lives, which is why we are set up internationally. We are in Panama, Kenya, India, and soon to be adding even more countries. And our focus is providing opportunities for people and providing training and focusing on building a culture where when you hop into our culture, we squeeze you up. So that is our why, and we are so happy to be here. Another thing that some people might be asking is, imagine putting on a webinar, and this guy from OnQ is the one giving the presentation. So thought I'd talk a little bit about the partnership and how we got to where we are today. OnQ is a company that is owned and operated by former billing company executives. So back in a previous life, we had a radiology medical billing company called RMI Physician Services. And in 2007, we started our relationship with Imagine through that company. And it was at that point that the relationship started off extremely strong and has stayed that way ever since. We have evolved over time, and RMI was subsequently sold, and now OnQ is owned and operated by previous RMI owners and executives. And we continued on that relationship with Imagine, and it has been strong ever since. We are thrilled to be here with Imagine through this strong partnership, and excited to be working together to provide solutions that benefit Imagine clients as well as OnQ clients. OnQ itself was established in 2013. We are headquartered in Houston, Texas. Again, we have operations in Panama, Kenya, and India, and we are a solutions company. We focus on the hospitals, laboratories, emergency medicine, multi-specialty billing companies, and large medical groups. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Armando, because what we felt like was starting off really with an example of what RPA, a visual, so that everybody can see what robotics process automation does in real time. And then after that, we can talk a little bit about some of the benefits of RPA, some of the challenges of RPA, and how it all works to get up and running with RPA in your environment. So with that, I'm going to hand it on over to Armando. Armando, would you please take us through this first example?
Of course. Thank you, Jack. And hi, everybody. Nice to see we have a big group today. Okay, so something to mention before starting with the video on the bots is that our bots are able to basically mimic the same interactions a human will do on a computer. For example, with websites, the bot is able to enter the websites, click, login into websites, extract information. The use of Excel files, the bots are able to read Excel files column by column, line by line. They are able to use applications or systems like Imagine, where they will be able to interact across many of these systems. In this first example, we're gonna be seeing the bot doing a process that we call the add referring doctor process. This process works from a module on Imagine that is gonna be basically entering the MPI registry website, and it's gonna be checking if any of those doctors match with what is on the Imagine website. So you can click play now, Jack. Thank you. So the bot is gonna be extracting the information from the MPI records. So he's gonna be typing the doctor's name, first name, the state. Can you pause it right there, Jack?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, and an important thing to note is as we play this, keep in mind that this is hands off the keyboard. This is not a person doing it. This is a program bot that is doing all of the activities that you see.
Correct. So in when we mention websites that the bots are able to check the websites, they are able to check multiple parts of the websites. For example, they can check into the MPI number that we show here. They see the name. They will see the primary practice address, phone number, and the most important things for the clients is the primary taxonomy. We can make the bot decide based on what is showing on the primary taxonomy if this is something that we would like to extract. Because sometimes it can show like dental practice, things that are not related to the client. So we will want to avoid having that information inside. So you can click play again, Jack, and thank you. So when the bot is identifying that this is something that the client wants, it's going to access the details. It's going to extract the MPI numbers, and then it's going to type it into Imagine pretty fast. It's going to add it into the data. It's going to select it, and then it's going to map it. This is a process that is basically being done every day. This is one of the most famous bots, basically because it's something really simple. But we do have clients that they might spend up to half the day of an employee just trying to search for information. Having a bot doing it, you can put that employee into something more useful than just looking for information.
So Armando, when you set these up, does the bot actually open Imagine and then open the web browser and then do all of the stuff and then close it all out? Or does the user execute it after it has the windows open? How does that work?
So the bots are set up to start Imagine, and that's a good question, Jack. The bots are set up to start Imagine on their own. So they are gonna log in into Imagine, look for the fast translate module in this case, and they're gonna start looking for the doctor information right from the start.
Okay, and so how does the bot know when to start? Is it on a schedule basis, or do you have a user that manually executes it? Can you explain to me how that works?
Yes, of course. So our bots, they come with what we call the bot monitors. These are basically a human that is behind the bot, checking that the bot is running at all times. This bot monitor is also in charge of basically setting up and making sure that the bot is running on a schedule. And that's to answer that part of the question, Jack. Yes, these bots can be set up in schedules where we can turn them on at, let's say, 3 times a day, at 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and then at noon, just to review everything overall and that there's nothing pending. And what the monitor does is basically making sure that the bot is succeeding on all of the tasks. But these are scheduled to run on their own at any given time.
Okay, so they're scheduled to run on their own, or you can have a bot monitor execute them at particular times, or watch to see if there's volumes there. What if a client wants their own employees internally to execute the bots? Is that a possibility?
Yes, of course. We are able to create basically a document, an SOP with detailed steps where we teach them how to run the bots. If they fail, what to do. We do have a ticketing system, which is OnQ support, where they can open tickets if any of the bots break.
Oh, great. Okay, you want me to go to the next one?
Yes, please. Let's
Actually,
continue.
before we move off that, we had a couple of questions that kind of relate to each other. What happens when the bot does not find a valid match or finds multiple matches? For example, John Smith.
That's a good question, John. So when the bot find multiple matches, that's where we work with the client to decide, okay, if we find multiple matches, they're going to have different taxonomies. We will select the one that the client wants us to select. For example, if we have, for example, 2 where it says internal cardiac, in an example here with Scott, and then we have another one that is dental, we are going to select the one that is for the cardiac part. And then we will set up those rules internally with the client. These bots are really customizable, so they are able to understand what the task needs to be completed. If nothing is matchable, they are just going to skip. They will continue with the next doctor. These bots, if they don't find an answer or something that they are not able to complete, they will just skip it, and then they will leave a trail, which is the log files, and we provide those in a CSV or an Excel file, where you will see the action of the bots and the decisions that they took and the reasons why they took those decisions.
Great, thank you.
All right, so this is the next slide, Armando.
Okay, perfect.
What are we looking at here?
Okay, do we have any other question, TJ?
Yeah, the did one more came through. What do we have any idea what the percentage of physicians found is?
Usually the percentage of found for this type is about 75%, 80%. Is around that.
Nice.
And so what happens for the ones that aren't found?
Those are basically left in the SCID log file, and we communicate those to the clients, and they do have different ways of proceeding on those cases.
Great.
Okay, perfect. Continuing with the second example, we have this bot that is working from the Avality website. Avality is a clearinghouse where some files are processed, and Imagine works with them to have that set up. In this case, this process is requiring the claim to be manually sent through the Medicaid of Texas or the TMHP website. So you're gonna see the bot doing some interactions in here. they're gonna be basically opening the first line, which is the HICFA. You're gonna see the PDF, the electronic PDF being open, and the bot is gonna be saving the PDF for two things. One, so it can be used to monitor what the bot is working, what he's downloading, and to match it against the log files. Two, because when this file is downloaded, he is going to extract the information from it. And a side note here, it's important to mention that all this data is usually saved within the secure servers of our partnership with Imagine, or within the client server itself. None of these files are being saved within any of OnQ premises. You can click play now, Jack.
Okay.
So he's gonna be opening the HICFA now. So in here, he's gonna be just making sure it's open, that it is loaded, and then he's gonna do the print to PDF, so it can be saved.
So why is it printing to PDF?
So he can be saved and downloaded, so he can read it and extract the information from it.
Okay, so it's going to read it from so the bot is going to read it from the PDF file then.
Correct.
Okay. And I noticed that it's typing something in here, right? So it's typing a file name. Can you customize the file name that it's going to be when it downloads this?
Correct. You can customize the file name template. It can contain multiple things from from today's date, the insurance, how many charges, or even at the end it can contain the claim number based on the client needs.
So is it able to read this and grab data off of the visual and then include some of that data in the file name as it saves it, so that it can be a customized file name based on data inside the file?
Correct. As long as it's electronic data, an electronic PDF, it can be extracted.
Okay, great.
Once it has all the information, it's gonna switch to the Team HP website, and then it's gonna start selecting this claim submission type, and it's gonna start inputting all the data. Can you go back a little bit, Jack? It goes really fast.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I may have clicked in the wrong spot here. Okay. Am I where you want to be?
Go, I think it's 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. There.
All right. Tell me when you want me to pause it.
Okay.
And I'll keep my mouse. My mouse keeps disappearing on me.
Okay, so he's gonna do the switch now. He's gonna select here the claim submission. So you can pause it here.
Okay.
So in here, he's gonna fill up all the information for this patient in specific, like the account number that it comes from Imagine, last name, first name, the street, all the address information for that patient, gender, date of birth. You can continue. Afterwards, he's gonna fill up the provider information. The bots are also able to wait for long loading screens. I know sometimes that's something that takes time in some.
So how does it know when it's ready then? Does the bot recognize when it's still loading, or do you have to custom program that, or how does that work?
He will be able to identify it. He can know when the website is ready to type.
Okay.
That's something that it can be programmed within the bot.
Okay, I'm gonna push play.
Okay, so in here is just filling up the provider information. All this information is usually given to us by the client.
How do you get the information by the client? Is it CSV file? Is it text file? How do you get it?
We can connect through different ways. We can get it on a CSV file. If they want to share something secure through APIs, the bot can get information through APIs as well. So they can be fed on that way directly. So now it's gonna just fill up the diagnosis codes. And then this is the most important and graceful part of the process, where the bot is just typing everything line by line. And here is where these clients saw how useful the bots were. In this part, if you type something incorrectly, you might get a denial, a rejection. And when you have a bot doing it, he's gonna type it directly as it is intended to. He's not gonna have a typo where you put an extra 0 on the unit price, or an extra 1 on the procedure code, or an extra modifier, where you will be getting to handle the denial from the insurance. These are the type of things that the bots help to reduce
errors. Yeah. So basically what you're saying is a bot's not going to make the same error that a human is going to make. It's going to get it right every time. Okay.
Correct.
As long as the source data is right.
Correct. So that's just a message that the developer left for when we recorded the video. So he's just saying that the bot is saying that it's ready to submit. And these are the type of messages that we leave also when the clients want to run the bots. We just leave in a message like, the bot is done, please continue with your work. And then this is the final part. The bot is gonna basically delete the HIPAA from the availability clearinghouse, and it's gonna leave a note in the comments with the claim number and everything that the bot utilized and that the client wanted us to put in there. And that's it. That's one process. That's one charge.
That's pretty cool. All right.
That's one success.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, and then any questions on the second video?
TJ, do we have anything come in or no?
No, I don't believe any questions so far.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the third and last demonstration that we have for everybody today is gonna be on the eligibility process, where we have both checking within different websites if a patient is covered by a certain insurance. This is another one that is pretty famous between our clients, as these bots are able to check. For example, if you have a self-pay bucket, they can check within the top 5 payers, Medicare for any patient above 65, Medicaid, Cigna, as long as we have enough data, or if we have an insurance ID or something, the bots are able to get in there, extract the information, and build as you're gonna see here. In this one in specific, this one is a special one. This one is actually working IPAs. These are the managed care insurances from California, where it can say that it's Cigna, but it's actually Cigna under a specific plan. So you can click play now.
Well, I have a question before we get going.
Okay, yes.
So that question is, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking, yeah, I see what's happening here, but my process is different. And if you've seen one billing company's process, you've seen one billing company's process. And so if my process is different than what you're showing on here, can you modify the bot for the way that I want you to work it versus the way that you've already built it?
That's a good question. Yes, that's something that we can definitely do. We can take this exact same process and modify it as much as you want. These are pretty customizable. These can be changed. For example, right now you're gonna see two specific websites, but if you wanna 2, 3, or 4 more, or different websites, it can also be done. So we can definitely set up customize different process for everybody.
Great. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start now.
Okay, so this is again on the Imagine software. The bot is gonna be getting into the denial ticklers. Okay, and here is gonna select, and apologize for resolution is a little bit bad. The denial tickler, then the bot is just gonna change to the setup that the client requested us. They just tell us like, okay, get into this denial type under this tickler view and work all of the denials under this name. So that is what the bot is doing right now. He's just setting up everything. These filters are usually created during development, the ones that the bot just utilize, just for the bot to only look for that denial in specific. Okay, so in here, the bot is gonna be getting first into the medical website. He's gonna log in into the medical website, and then he's gonna check the eligibility using the patient's information. In here, it's gonna say that the patient is covered into I believe it's HealthNet. So the client informs us like, okay, if you found this in the medical website, check in the availability website to see what is in there. So then the bot is gonna do just that. He's gonna select the payer, gonna add all the information for the eligibility to be successful. Okay, so in here we see that the patient is actually covered under an insurance type of Medicaid. Based on that result, we also have a plan number specific that we need to use whenever we have a successful result. That's what the bot is gonna do there. He's gonna come back, he's gonna update the insurance, and then he's gonna send the claim out the door. So at this point, we can do different things like select a next contact date, so another team can handle it. It can be sent to a different bucket. Basically, anything that the client wants can be added for the bot to follow up. So, and that's gonna be basically the whole process for that one.
Okay, so I'll stop it. I do have a question for you on how you set all of this stuff up. So that was a pretty complex process that you just went through. So you went and got the information and checked multiple websites. How do you go about making sure that the bots, when you guys program them, are going to do what the client wants them to do before you turn it on?
Before turning on a bot, we do set up what we do our weekly meetings with the clients, where we give them feedback of how the bot process is, how the bot development is going. These meetings can be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. We basically meet with the client. We show them if they would like to see a video. When the video is ready, we give them to them so they see the process running.
But how about the initial setup? Like when you are going to build a bot for a client, and you're starting from scratch, what does that look like? Okay,
so that initial setup usually is handled by the Imagine team if the client is hosted. So they will basically build the instances where the bot is going to live. They're going to create the bot accounts, and we will then basically connect on those instances, and we will start developing on those servers.
And how do you know what to develop? Do you have a meeting with the client where you have them show you exactly what you want to happen via online meeting or something like that?
Correct. We set up multiple meetings with them, with the client. We usually at the beginning we do a kickoff call where an Imagine representative do the introduction of all of us. Then we go through the bots that they want to implement. From there, we set up meetings. We set up different meetings with the subject expert matters. where we go through the steps. We record the steps on videos. Once the videos are recorded, we then recreate those steps on documents. We document the whole thing. That documentation is shared with the client. The client reviews the documentation. Once the documentation is completed and approved by the client, we start the development of the whole process.
Oh, okay. So you record the process on a video screen. After you've done that recording, you go back and you use that recording to create a process document that essentially flowcharts everything out, and you communicate with the client that process to make sure we're all on the same page, right? And then
Correct.
once we know that we're all on the same page, then you start the development of the bot.
Correct.
Okay. And then once it's developed and and the development team thinks it's ready to go, how do I know it's going to be right when you turn it on?
We will keep doing the meetings with the client where we discuss the log files
Okay.
and the findings. If also they see an error, which that's usually is only during development where we see some discrepancies, they let us know during the meetings as well. The things that need to be changed.
Great.
We have a question. Can you use a different clearinghouse besides Avality? I'll actually take that one. Yeah, Avality, we can actually use, OnQ uses any clearinghouse that has a login, whether it's Imagine's clearinghouse, FICure, Avality, anybody else. So that is not, it's agnostic to that process.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about on this one, Armando?
No, we're good. If there's no more
Okay.
questions, we can continue.
Okay. Is this another bot or am I giving you the same one again?
Yeah, that's the one.
This is the one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so basically this is basically all the fields that we have covered so far on all this time that we have been developing bots with our partnership with Imagine. We have demographic entry bots where the bots can get information either from Excel files with patient data, access different websites to extract information, and then put that information on Imagine, create different, create the patient information, the visits. We have the QClean claim process, which is a detailed review of every claim. That is basically, it's basically a reporting package where we take the log files that the bot has created and we give you a view of everything, like all the processes, everything that has been succeeded through the bots, and all the insurance information, payments, all of that the bot has captured. We have the patient credit balance relocation where the bot is actually able to get patient data, patient payments, and move them across the account. This one get a lot of questions, so usually we program demos to get in details.
So is it custom? So when you say you get a lot of questions, do different groups reallocate their credits in a different manner? So you have to customize it, or it's just you get a lot of questions because it's a little bit complicated? Because when I read it, and correct me if I'm wrong, patient credit balance reallocation, you got a patient account that overall has a credit balance. However, the individual line items might have a balance on them. So you're reallocating to zero out those line items with a balance. Is that what it's doing?
Correct, as exactly as you explained it, Jack.
Okay.
So, and to answer your question, it does has a little bit of both. One, they have a lot of questions because the process is it needs a lot of detail. Two, because it needs to be handled accurately. So that's why we set up meetings aside to discuss this one. So we move to the ERS payments exceptions, payments audit. We can also post the rename remits. We do the patient eligibility that we saw the video. We also handle the mail return process to verify whenever an update has been done on one of those accounts, if the address are correct. We do have denials. We work different type of denials, from checking the different denial codes, remark codes, maybe sending a file that has sending documents through the United Healthcare website. Those are the type of denials that we handle. Things that are usually denials that are just need a copy and paste, because there are other type of denials that are more difficult. And then the manual payment posting, where we basically take information from either an electronic ERS or from an Excel file, and it gets posted into the manual payment posting on Imagine.
Okay. And as you're talking about this, one of the concerns that I might have as a billing company manager is I've got bots running around in Imagine doing different things, posting different things. How do I know what the bot's doing? How do I know that it posted a payment, and that it was a bot that posted a payment and not a person that posted a payment? And is there any sort of record of all the things that the bots are doing?
Yes, that's a good question. So there's multiple ways of tracking the bot activity within Imagine. The first one is that Imagine tracks all the activity of the user. So whenever a bot is posting a payment or creating a batch, Imagine is gonna keep track of everything that the bot is doing, because we assign a specific credentials for the bots. So it's gonna be on QBot 1, which is doing the denial, this specific denial process. We're gonna know that that credential and that bot needs to be reviewed.
Okay, so the bot is logging into Imagine just like any other user, and it's got a name, bot 1, bot 2, bot 3, right?
Correct.
Okay. That makes sense. How else are you tracking things that are being done by the bots?
We also track those through the log files. So
Okay.
all the activity that the bots are doing is tracked through the log files, where they put where they were working, when was the last execution date, what was the last account touch. We don't really keep any PHI within those log files, just general information that will help us track whatever the bot did on those accounts.
Okay. And I see you have 10 different bot processes listed here. Is that all you have?
No, we have many more. This is just a general overview of everything that we have created with Imagine, and one of the most famous ones. From this, we do create multiple customizations out of this. So we have denial bots that are really different from each other. The patient eligibility, also posting the remits. We have to post with different batch number for all of the clients. Each insurance is a different template name. So yeah, there are infinite number of possibilities.
I have a couple questions come in. One is, are there any compliance concerns related to a bot accessing a government website?
So I'll take that question. And so far, the guidance that we have had is that a bot is nothing more than a tool for a user. And so in order to access the websites, there has to be a legitimate credential that is provided to the bot, and that credential needs to be provided by the person who is the owner of the credential. And so it is viewed as a tool that the user is using and approving through its credentials. So that is the rationale.
Gotcha. Thank you. Another question, could we get a complete list of the different bots available? Absolutely. There's roughly 50, low 50s of Imagine common process bots currently that OnQ's developed. Basically, any process on a global scale, they benefit most, if not all, Imagine clients have been developed. We can get you that list. So either myself, I will get that list to you. If you want to email me at tapplegate@imagineteam.com, I'll put that in the chat. And I will make sure that your revenue cycle consultant will get that information to you as well.
Great. All right, I'll move to the next slide now.
Okay, thank you, Jack. So basically, this is an overall view of everything of RPA can do. Logging into different applications, connect to system APIs, and the APIs is more like a secure way to extract information. We can extract different type of data from the APIs, extract document content from the documents, PDF, emails, forms, like we just saw, open emails and attachment, make calculations, move files and folders, read and write to databases, and scrape the data from websites.
Hey, I just thought about something. Can you talk a little bit about the solutions you have created to handle multi-factor authentication scenarios where you log in and then it says, okay, we're going to send you a text message, or we're going to send you an email message, or even the ones that say, solve this puzzle, find the number of traffic lights in the thing below, in the view below, stuff like that. How do you handle that with the bots?
Okay, that's a good question. So the way we handle, we handle a few. We don't handle all of them. For example, the images, those even me, I don't get the images sometimes. So we are not able to make the bot click on the images or type the weird letters. The way we handle the two-factor authentication is through email. So we are able to make the bot basically tell the application, send an email. The bot will receive the email into a specific email address assigned to that bot. He will read the code and he will type it into the authentication box. So it will continue running. Also, we are able to assign a cell phone number to that bot. We receive the text message into the cell phone number assigned to the bot, and then the bot is going to extract the number and type it into the website.
Okay, great. And so are you saying then on the first one where it's the images and you select the images, if I have a process that includes that, should I just say, well, it can't be automated, or are there any workarounds whatsoever?
On those type of processes, that's where our bot monitors come in. They will basically help the bot on those scenarios where they will select the images for the bot. As we saw before, the bot will show a pop-up message saying, please select the images. The monitor will select the images, and then he will click continue, and the bot will continue moving after that part has been completed.
Oh, I see. So basically the bot's able to go through, get to that point, hand it off to a person, the person solves the riddle. And then once they solve the riddle, they hand it back to the bot and it goes.
Correct.
All right, cool. All right, anything else on this slide?
No, sir, you can continue.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a really important one, when to use RPA. RPA is something where you want to automate things that have a lot of employee involvement, where you have 5, 6, 10 people doing the same exact thing with a high volume, and that is really consistent and redundant. Like, for example, creating claims or sending manual claims. Even though it's different data, a little like it is so redundant and so repetitive that little mistakes can happen when the employee starts to stop paying attention, because it's really easy to do. where the logical are on rule based, there's almost none, or is really easy to follow. That's something that you definitely want to automate, and that of course the information is really available through the computer. Things that you don't want to automate is something where is really you want a person thinking through. And these type of activities are really low volume. Like for the denials, there are some denials that are only for humans, for collections where you have to call insurance and find out what is happening. We can make the bots work to a certain point, and then the rest can be handled to a human, but we don't want to make the bot call any human or nothing like that. Where the variability is really high, where you don't really know what is going to happen. So you really need to know an expert that is going to follow different type of logic. Is not based on logic and is inaccessible through a PC, meaning it's a document that is a scan. You got written by hand.
Just to re-clarify that, so basically any high volume business rules driven repeatable process qualifies for automation. Anything that doesn't require discretion.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, and I think one of the things also to note when you're thinking about deploying an RPA solution, RPA is way better than having people do it. You're taking repetitive tasks, you're getting it off of their plate so they can do something more creative and more fun and grow themselves. That's when you start thinking, well, if I have people doing it, then RPA is the potential. But you have to take that next step and say, is RPA really the right solution, or can we handle this programmatically and do that in a time efficient manner? Because if you have the ability to program it away without using RPA technology, it's better to do that generally than it is to build RPA, unless you have to have a solution like tomorrow. The good thing about RPA is you can build these bots very quickly and put a solution in place very fast. But if you have the ability to, and I'll give you just an example, if we can set it up and imagine through the appliance and automate it in that manner, a process, then that is the way you should do it every single time. But it's those things where, imagine can't do things like open up other websites and extract data from the other websites directly. So that's when RPA is a logical choice. So just kind of keep that in mind when you start thinking about processes to automate. We're going to look at all different avenues. What's the most efficient way to do it? RPA is the solution many times, and many times it's like, we could do it better a different way. So just make sure that you're using the right solution. All right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jack.
You betcha.
So this is just some of the benefits that through the years we have found with RPA. One, of course, accuracy. They don't make errors. They don't get tired. They can look through 100 documents and extract the data exactly as you want for 24 hours, and it's going to be the same data all the time. You get to improve your employee morale. So something that and this is the best feedback that we get from our clients, is that they get to have their employees focus on something that is more difficult, something that is going to make them more valuable within the company, instead of just sending claims out of the door. The productivity can get increased up to 10 times more faster than a human could do. Is reliable. Consistency. Once the rule is set within the bot, he's going to follow that rule 100% of the time. Is not invasive. Is within compliance. Is something that is low technical, that it doesn't need that much of a server is not gonna take much of your resources. It will behave within your server the same as a regular user will take from all of the resources. So these are some of the benefits that we have.
Yeah, and I know we're running close on time. I'm going to go to the next slide, but before I go to the next slide, I want to preface it with the way that I think about some of the benefits of it. So I mentioned to begin with that we're focused on the employees and keeping happy employees and improving and creating an environment where they can excel and learn and grow. And that focuses on improved employee morale. And as I think about having some of the jobs I've had in the past where I've had to do the same thing over and over again, it reminded me of this show. Many of you will probably be familiar with it as soon as I flip the slide, but it's Groundhog Day. And this is kind of the way that I felt sometimes during some of those monotonous tasks that we all have to do sometimes over and over and over again, just like Bill Murray did. So just a little fun in there for you guys. So TJ, I know we're 8 minutes into it. Do we want to wrap it up, or you want me to continue on? I've got a few more slides. We can go straight to Q&A.
Yeah, I don't see any new questions coming in, so maybe we can just continue on until we get some pop up. Feel free to ask.
That sounds good. So where are we now in terms of our bot development? It took us a while to get everything in place, and we are really happy with where we have landed. We have a scalable virtual infrastructure. So I think back at the times when we were originally looking at RPA, and I literally was putting in computer after computer after computer in cube after cube after cube. And I did that to like 3 to 5 cubes set up, running bots, and I'm running back and forth between the computers and stuff. And I'm like, I know this isn't the right solution, but at the time, there was no documentation on how to get these things set up. This was, 4 or 5 years ago. Now, of course, we're all in the cloud. We don't have to have multiple cubes or anything like that, and we have a completely scalable infrastructure. We know how to get it in, how to leverage it and deploy bots very, very quickly. We currently have over 100 bot processes built through OnQ. We have over 120 bot machines in the cloud. We have a global staff of 45 bot monitors and developers. We are a 24/7 shop. We have coverage 24/7 with bot monitors. So you can run these things literally 24/7, 365. Bots do not call in sick. They work around the clock. And so you have to have bot monitors that make sure that they get kicked off when they're supposed to get kicked off. What I'm really excited about as of late, we have integrated a SQL brain into this entire process. That brain feeds the bots. It manages the data that comes through, and it interacts with the bots by analyzing the ones. We talked a little bit about skips. So sometimes a bot is programmed and it can't quite get everything. So there's these items that get skipped. Well, it grabs the reasons that they're skipped, loads it into a database, and does analytics on it, and tries to figure out a way to then send information back to the bot so that it doesn't have to skip it the next time. So we have developed that solution and have it implemented. And this is kind of the process that it looks like. And I am not going to go through all of these boxes here because I think I'd bore everybody to death, even though I love this stuff. But what I'm talking about here is we've got a production table that feeds a table called bot food, which feeds a table called bots are eating, which actually splits it out and says, I'm going to send all the stuff over to bot number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where it sends it to bots number 1, 2, 3. And the bots will work in practice management systems and feed the information and the results back into a bot log. And that bot log will update the previous tables and the ones that it skips, it goes through and creates different actions. So many times what happens is that we can say, oh, it skipped it. We analyze it. We say, if it did this, then it would not have skipped it. So you can reprogram, send it back to the bots, and this is an automated process. But many times it's like, we can't do it. We need a human interaction. And so it'll be a different action that sends it to a human to work. And there's a graphical user interface to this as well, that really helps with the process and understanding, and gives the users control over what the bots do and don't do. Some of the lessons learned for implementing bots. If you do it right, your people will thank you for implementing them. At first, I will confess that I didn't do it completely right. I was super excited about automation, and I know that we had some employees that felt like we were trying to automate their jobs away. And it was really disheartening to me, because we're an employee-based company and everything is about elevating others and making people's lives better and everything else. And so I would say, if you're brand new to bots and you are going down this road, make sure you communicate with your people that your intentions are to make their jobs better and give them higher responsibility so that they can grow, and communicate that this is not to reduce staff. And I would strongly encourage you guys to communicate that to the staff. We have never let anybody go because we implemented bots. On the contrary, we've grown rapidly ever since, because it's provided us just more opportunities to leverage people's creative minds. Think big, but start small. Look, if you're a little bit nervous about it, it's pretty, the way that Imagine has set this up, it's pretty much risk-free to give it a shot. So I would encourage you to pick a process and give it a shot. You really don't have anything to lose by doing so. And then finally, bot monitors are key. So, we get the bots running and everything's going well. You really need somebody that is focused on making sure that they continue to run. And so the 24/7 coverage is really key, I think, to the success of having a bot deployment. And all in all, I think that's the end of it. So ran out of time just at the right time. Any other questions, TJ?
None at the moment right now. Jack and OnQ, thank you guys very much. We'll hang out here for just another minute and a half, see if there's any questions that come through, but thank you very much for the presentation today. We value your partnership and the value that you bring to the Imagine client customers.
Thank you. And I just wanted to take a little time and thank everybody for joining today and for participating and listening to us. It's really exciting to us. I know that's not always exciting to a lot of other people, but I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of the day today. And thanks, TJ. Thanks, Caroline. Thank you, Imagine team, for all that you guys do. We love the partnership.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And a reminder for the folks that are still on, we will be sending the recording out this evening. And if you have any other questions, you can even respond to that email. We will make sure either TJ or Jack get back to you with proper answers. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.